and we want to do history. And that's what our standards for Black history are. It's just cut and dried history. You learn all the basics, you learn about the great figures, and I view it as American history. I don't view it as separate history. We have history, a lot of different shapes and sizes. People that have participated to make the country great, people that have stood up when it wasn't easy, and they all deserve to be taught. But abolishing prisons, being taught to high school kids as if that's somehow a fact, no, that's not appropriate.
I cannot with this man, okay? Throwing up the papers. Just cannot with him. He wants the basics taught. Did you hear this fool? He wants to talk about the great people in African American history. He views African American history as America's history. That's the only right thing that this man has said. But are you listening, America, to this governor who has problems on his hands in that state, but yet and still he wants to sit up here and try to regulate education, and then he wants to talk about African American history as if everything about the history of Black Americans in this country has been good? It has not, sir. Now we know they came before Columbus. Don't get me started on that. Yes, the history of African American people did not begin and end with chattel slavery. Hello, somebody, but let me just set this man straight. All he wants to talk about are the great figures. Do you want to talk about great figures like Frederick Douglass, a great figure that was once enslaved in the United States of America, escaped slavery, became an abolitionist and one of the most well-known freedom fighters in this country? Is that the kind of great figures you want to talk about? Or do you want to talk about Harriet Tubman, the Moses of her people, who went back to the South over and over again to save Black people from being enslaved and then served as a spy for the Union Army? Are those the kind of great people that you want to talk about, Governor DeSantis? Do you want to talk about slave owners? Do you want to talk about the fact in this country that people who look like me were considered chattel, owned property, and that even in the midst of the American Revolution, the mofos fighting for their freedom didn't decide that they are going to set enslaved Black people free as they try to escape the thumb of the crown? Oh no, they kept it going into the creation of this new nation. Man, you're sick. You really are. Florida, you need to get this governor. America, we should never ever let this man become president of the United States of America because he can't handle the truth. He wouldn't know the truth if it slapped him in the face. What he is trying to do is erase the experience of Black people in the United States of America if it doesn't fit his narrow narrative. That's what he's trying to do. Yes, I'm done with this man. I just don't even know what to say about the sanctimonious. That's one thing Trump got right.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point. You can't speak about great figures in African American history without acknowledging the adversity that they were born into, what made them great in a lot of ways. African American history is American history. It gets its own course because there's simply too much information to cram into a push to do it justice, right? There's nothing racist about the course. The point of education is to expand knowledge and to practice critical thinking skills. DeSantis is intentionally obstructing education efforts in his own state, and he's doing an incredible disservice to the younger generations by doing so.
Yeah, he is, because God forbid all children learn the truth about this country, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And yes, there's been some good. There's a whole bunch of bad and ugly that still reverberates in the 21st century. God forbid that. Yasmin, I was on CNN the other night with one of my colleagues who said, we don't want white children made to feel like they have somehow, done something wrong to somebody. What teacher does that? They're just teaching the lessons of history in a very holistic way. But I tell you what has happened in the United States of America. Black children have been made to feel inferior. And that's not just my thought. It has been proven. Brown versus the Board of Education clearly proved that Black children were made to feel inferior in this country. And that's not just one example, but how is it that telling the truth about this country's history all of a sudden makes somebody else's child feel inferior? What about Black children? What about Black parents? Florida, get this dude, please get him. Now, what concerns do they have? Because this is Ron DeSantis dipping his nose where it doesn't belong, broadly claiming that the new AP study somehow violates state law and that it lacks educational value. Who gets to determine that? You, Governor DeSantis? And who the hell are you? You're not an educator. Let's put this up. What concerns did they have concerning the topics and the lesson plans? This was about AP Black Studies, Black Queer Studies, Black Lives Matter movement, Black feminist literary thought, the reparations movement, the Black struggle in the 21st century, readings by Black scholars and activists and writers. What is wrong with that? I didn't see this dude trying to do away with other advanced courses. Oh no, but just advanced Black history. Let's go ahead. What sparked these comments from the sanctimonious fella? Play the clip.
This course, so when I heard it didn't meet the standards, I figured, yeah, they may be doing serious. It's way more than that. This course on Black history, what's one of the lessons about? Queer theory. Now, who would say that an important part of Black history is queer theory? That is somebody pushing an agenda on our kids. And so when you look to see they have stuff about intersectionality, abolishing prisons, that's a political agenda. And so that's the wrong side of the line for Florida standards.
What standards, Governor? Man, if this was not a family show, what type of standards, Governor? There have been some there are great queer champions within history. And so why not be able to talk about them? James Baldwin, one of the greatest novelists of the 21st century, just one of many. We can name so many others. Why does that rattle you so much, Governor? Why do you have so much hate for our queer sisters and brothers and family and friends? Dude, you got a problem. And again, who are you to determine what is educationally relevant and what is not? You need to be making sure that the material conditions of the poor, the working poor, and the barely middle class are somehow edified in the great state of Florida. Florida deserves better than you, dude. I would love to debate you. Bring it on, baby. I invite you anytime, anywhere. You wouldn't know intersectionality if it smacked you in the face. There's something wrong with you, dude, that you got this much time on your hands as the governor of a state to sit up here and pause and have a press conference to get other people rattled about this foolishness. Man, you a straight up fool. You really, really are. And some history on the development of the courses. Put it up, y'all. The Advanced Placement Program is the first course in African American studies. Get it, studies, which is broad, to be offered by the College Board. It would allow high school students to earn credit and advanced placement at many colleges across the country. What is wrong with that, genius? And here's how this is it, period. And this is how the board describes the course. The course has been in development for more than a decade until this dude comes along. And it focuses not just in history, but explores the vital contributions, underline it, underscore, put it in a message in a bottle, and experiences of African Americans in literature, the arts, political science, geography, and science. But Governor, you wouldn't get that because you are just using this for your political playground. You just amping up all the folks. This is more than a dog whistle, baby. You are signaling to the folks who you want to be all bent out of shape about this. Something wrong with you, really. Florida, something wrong with this dude. And the kicker is the syllabus wasn't even publicly released. Somebody leaked this. That's the kicker. Did you hear what I said? It wasn't even publicly released. Somebody leaked this, which just further proves that this man has an agenda to continue to separate people one from another, to continue to paint people as the other. And we know what happens to groups of people in the United States of America when that happens, the othering of folks. Something wrong with this dude. Now remember, in Florida, which DeSantis has declared the state where woke goes to die, DeSantis and Republican legislative leaders have approved laws that limit what schools and employers can teach about racism and other aspects of history. This is wrong. And it does a disservice to every child, no matter how they identify, no matter what their racial or ethnic or religious background is. It does a disservice to those children who we will need to not only navigate the United States of America, we need them to navigate the world. It does them a disservice, and it is a total insult to all the educators in that great state. Florida, you can do better and you deserve better. DeSantis, baby, anytime, anywhere.